President Bush dodging shoes instead of fielding questions yesterday during a news conference with Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki in Baghdad. And while the president brushed off the insult, it was certainly an unwelcome metaphor for a president whose legacy will be largely defined by the Iraq War. Joining me now to talk about this is radio host Michael Reagan and Stephanie Miller, both of them in Los Angeles. Great to see both of you this morning. Michael, you know, I know, duck, right? I'm looking behind me right now. No, but he was supposed to go there, and you know there was some progress made. I mean, they signed this agreement. They signed a couple of agreements. They're looking at a way to hand over power and to eventually have U.S. troops move on. And this is all we've seen all over the news for the past 24 hours.
Yeah, things like this do make news. I mean, when somebody throws their shoes at the President of the United States, it tends to make a lot of news. And, of course, that's what's leading the news everywhere. You know, interesting to watch this. I was saying to somebody yesterday, if the President of the United States had made moves like that over the last 8 years, he'd probably still control the House and the Senate of the United States. So pretty good moves he made, you know, ducking the shoes and not getting hit by them. And you know something? The man who threw the shoes, lucky nothing happened to him.
Well, we don't know yet. He's still in custody today by Iraqi officials, so we'll see what happens. But Stephanie, do you look at this as an isolated incident, or does it speak to the way that President Bush is perceived by some in Iraq?
Yeah, Karen, people seem to get so touchy when you unnecessarily invade their country. You know, I think we're going to look forward to the day when they pull down a statue of George Bush and hit that with shoes as well.
Hold on, though. Can I just say one thing that I did think that was interesting? I mean, we are joking about this, and I mean, there is a comical element, but a sad element at the same time to this. But this Shia reporter, right? I mean, under Saddam Hussein, you could argue, wouldn't have been. I mean, wouldn't even be covering that press conference, and certainly wouldn't still be alive.
Well, you know, that's true, Karen, but it doesn't make the war any more legal or any more necessary. And I think, you know, that, you know, history has already judged that, as have the American people.
And so in 36 days, Michael?
If I step in, I mean, Air America and the left have been throwing shoes at the President of the United States for about 8 years, the way I see it. And they've been hitting him with shoes. At least he ducked them now. But reality is, this isn't, you know, anything more than one guy, one incident, upset, angry, and mad. Listen, these things do happen. That's why the President of the United States has Secret Service protection. That's why Barack Obama has Secret Service protection, because there are people like this. The crazies do exist.
I want to ask you this, though, Michael, because in 36 days, it's going to be Barack Obama's problem, unfortunately, both, you know, the Iraq situation and the deteriorating situation in Afghanistan. So are there lessons to be learned as he meets with his national security team again about the future for the U.S. presence in countries like Iraq and Afghanistan?
Well, what he's going to learn is it's going to be his ownership. He's going to own Afghanistan. He's been talking about it for a long time. He's going to own Iraq. What is he going to do? I don't think he's going to pull out, because I think he's already getting information that if he does, it's really going to deteriorate and become worse than it is today. He's going to have to become president of the United States, not somebody who's only speaking for the MoveOn.orgs and the left in this country.
Stephanie, we certainly have not heard, I mean, you said MoveOn.org, but he's actually being criticized for being a little bit more centrist when it comes to those things. Stephanie, as he talks about an increased troop presence in Afghanistan, what does Barack Obama need to think about in terms of making sure it doesn't turn into another Iraq?
Well, you know, I think he's been consistent about that, Karen, through the campaign, and I think the military has agreed with him that we took our eye off the ball in Afghanistan by going into Iraq, and now we have to finish the job in Afghanistan. And by the way, Michael, you've got old talking points. He's not MoveOn.org. They're actually mad at him.
Right, they are, but they've been mad at him.
I don't really get talking points. I make my own up.
All right, you guys, I just want you to hear this. This is John McCain on ABC this week with George Stephanopoulos, and I want to get both of your reactions quickly before we have to go. This is about Sarah Palin.
We've got some great other young governors. I think you're going to see the governors assume a greater leadership role in our Republican Party.
Why not? 6 months ago, you thought she was
and,
the best person to succeed you if something should happen to you.
Sure, but now we're in a whole election cycle.
That, Michael, doesn't sound like a glowing endorsement for Palin 2012 from McCain.
Well, you know,
yeah, I think governors will play a big role, not that one.
Don't start this election today. Let's wait a while. And in reality, historically, governors are the people we turn to. Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush. We turn to people who have had executive experience.
But she's a governor.
Maybe we should have done that this time.
Now, Michael, come on. You knew Ronald Reagan. She's no Ronald Reagan. Come on.
I'm not talking
John
about
McCain
Ronald Reagan.
says,
I'm talking
I
about,
think governors
I'm
will
talking
be the
about
leaders,
the governors.
not that
I'm talking about
particular
the
one.
governors in this country. I'm talking about governors in this country, Republican governors, who are very much qualified to be president of the United States. More
Yes, but I
qualified
thought she was
than
the person
senators.
most qualified to be president of the United States just a couple of months ago, John McCain said.
I don't know about you, but I always vote for the top of the ticket, don't you?
Yeah, well, in
Hey,
this case, I
people
didn't vote
voted for
either side of
Goldwater,
that
not
ticket.
Miller. What can I tell you?
All right, you too. Just interesting, though, to hear McCain's words for sure. Great to talk about you, Stephanie Miller and Michael Reagan.
Thanks,
Thank
Karen.
you.